Hey everybody, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. This one's going to be geared a little bit more towards the newbies. With Christmas upon us, Fallout 76 has been discounted and we have a lot of new players coming in who haven't played before. So I wanted to make this video as sort of a guide to junk. I mean, it's by no means comprehensive or complete, but the idea kind of came to me today that let me make a video that showcases some very common junk items throughout the world that are actually very useful. And for new players who are coming in, these are items you'd want to keep an eye out for and pick up as you come across them. I found it could be a bit overwhelming, certainly when I first played Fallout 4 when junk was first introduced. There's a bit of an overwhelming factor as to what exactly should I pick up, because there's so much in the world that you can just pick up as junk and you're like, okay, what is actually useful and what's not? And you can figure that out from hours and hours of playing it. But early on I found that I was always kind of short certain key junk items, so I wanted to make this video in the hopes that you won't have the same issues that I did. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Okay, so let's navigate to our junk tab here. The first one is going to be the alarm clock. This is great because the alarm clock has aluminum and springs in it. Springs are something that you can just never have enough of. You craft them with your weapons and with your armor. So if you find yourself coming across alarm clocks, go ahead and pick those up. Aluminum is also great for crafting weapons and armor. You just can never have enough of these two things. The aluminum can, as you might expect from its name, it has aluminum in it, but also has lead. Aluminum's great for crafting your weapons and armor. It's something I found I just never had enough of. And lead is great for crafting ammo. If you come across these, they don't weigh too much, so go ahead and grab those. They'll make your life a little bit easier. When I first started out, I found that I was just always short aluminum and could never get enough of it. So if you come across these, they look like cans, but they're kind of bent in the middle. Go ahead and pick those up. Then there's the battered clipboard. This is one of my favorite discoveries. These have springs in them, and clipboards are pretty much everywhere. So if you come across them, they don't weigh that much. They're in every kind of building, office building imaginable. Go ahead and pick those up for their springs. The Blast Radius board game has nuclear material in it. This is a little bit, can be more an advanced crafting component, but early on, if you're trying to craft sights for your guns, you're going to find that you often need nuclear material. So this is an easy way to find it. You'll find these board games in many of the buildings in the early stages of the game. Blasting cap boxes have aluminum in them as well. You find these a lot in the ash heap to the south. If you're finding yourself short of aluminum, pick those up. Regular cans have steel and lead in them as well. Steel is great for crafting just pretty much everything. Lead, as I said, is great for ammo. These don't weigh too much. You can find them in clusters sometimes. They're like little alarm things that go off if you run into them. You can find those in various areas around the map. I actually have a video that's based around those and farming those for steel and lead. So if you'd like to check that out, I'll put something on the screen here to where you can click on that. Desk fans are another one of my favorite things to pick up. They do weigh quite a bit, so if you find yourself getting weighed down by junk a lot, could be that these are the culprit, but they have screws and gears in them, and screws, gears, and springs are just like the trifecta of junk items that you will always need. They are used in every conceivable crafting recipe imaginable. So if you come across these, be sure and pick those up because they are just a great way to get two of these components in one junk item. Adhesive is something that I found in addition to aluminum that I just never had enough of early on in the game because I was crafting so many different types of weapons. So duct tape is a great way to get adhesive. You can find them in workshops and such. They're everywhere. Just keep an eye out for it. Glue is also a great way to get adhesive. You have different types. You have some that look like this, economy wonder glue, and then you have others that are just a little bit more, they're smaller, and they don't give you as much adhesive, but you can easily miss them. Keep an eye out for them. They're in workshop type areas where you would expect to find glue. And then lighters, any kind of lighter you find, flip lighter, gold, silver, whatever it is, these once again are one of my favorite things to pick up. They don't weigh that much and they have springs in them. I'm just always short on springs, especially when you start crafting power armor. So these are, I find them everywhere. They're on ghouls, they're in houses. Keep an eye out for them. They're pretty small, but if you, I bet if you keep an eye out for them like me, you'll soon find that they're just everywhere. Another great thing are globes. These have 2 screws in them, which is great. They also have plastic, which is a good component that you're going to need if you're doing anything with the laser weapons. They are a bit on the heavier side too, so once again, watch your weight if you're watch your weight. If you find yourself over encumbered, then you might want to drop one of these in order to make room for more. Handcuffs, they have multiple uses. In this game, they're pretty much only good for one thing. They have springs in them, and they have screws. They also have some steel, so that's great, because steel, just once again, you can never have enough of it. You're crafting it in everything. But it's got the screws and the springs. It's got 2 of those of the trifecta I mentioned, so if you happen to see these, go ahead and pick those up. They are great. Hot plates, another one of my favorite things. I find these all over the place. They're usually in kitchens, labs, what have you. They just seem to be everywhere. And they have copper and circuitry and screws. Screws, of course, you know what those are good for. I'm not going to beat that horse anymore. Copper and circuitry are good for a plethora of different advanced crafting recipes. They're also good for laser weapons and crafting the ammo for them. So they are a great way to get some of those components. The office desk fan is basically the same as the regular desk fan. You just find them in offices, so they give you the gears, the screws, and the steel as well. So if you're in an office type building, keep an eye out for these. They are literally everywhere. You can find packages of duct tape in addition to just regular ones. They look a little bit different, so don't search too quickly. You might miss them if you're in an area. Once again, search workshops and stuff. Plastic plates, I find these mostly at like barbecue outside type events, kitchen or locations, kitchens and stuff as well. You can sometimes find them. There's a couple areas I know that tend to spawn them more than others, but they're a great way to find plastic, which once again, if you are doing anything with the laser weapons, then you're going to need plastic, and it can be a bit maddening when you actually need plastic to try to find it. The cameras, you can find these. They're not as common, and they do weigh a lot, but they do have gears, spring, and crystals in them. Crystals are used in some more advanced crafting recipes. They're not too plentiful, but if you find yourself in need of them, you can't find them. It's pretty annoying. Here's another board game that has nuclear material in it. You can be on the lookout for that. Soap, this was one of my favorite ones too, because soap tends to be in many different locations around the map. They're in, typically bathrooms and stuff, and they're just a great way to find oil, which oil, I'd say that the things that I was mostly looking for early on in this game was adhesive, aluminum, and oil. Oil, because with all your crafting with weapons, you're just going to find that oil is often involved with that. So soap is a great way to get that. So be on the lookout for that. It also doesn't weigh too much. TV dinner trays. These were the easiest way I found early on, for me at least, to find aluminum. These were my go-to because they have 2 aluminum per dinner tray, and there's a couple locations in the map where you can just find a ton of them. So be on the lookout for those. You can get your aluminum. Regular tin cans, these are the same as cans. They give you the steel and the lead. Oil cans, this is once again another great way to find oil. They don't weigh too much. Vegetable starch is usually something you craft. I'm going to have a video on that here soon, but if you do find it, pick it up. It does give you adhesive, which of course you can never have enough of. So that is going to wrap up this video. I'm probably going to do more of these in the future too, because this list was by no means exhaustive. These are just some of the most common junk items that I find in the world of Fallout that are useful to pick up due to their components. If you found this at all helpful, please leave a like, drop a sub, show your support, and leave a comment down in the description below about some of the components that you may find are the most useful to you in fulfilling the junk needs that Fallout 76 demands. Again, thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in the next installment.